最初のイベントなんだ。レベル1の俺にだって倒せる相手のはず。行くしかない。
A boy named Michio enters a game and suddenly wakes up in a stable of horses. Before entering the game world, Michio had time to choose several skills that he could use while in this game world. After the equipment was ready, he started to look around. Soon a group of bandits came to attack the villagers. Using his skill, Michio found out how strong the bandits were. He immediately attacked and killed them all. After that, his level went up 1 level. Then the village chief came to him and asked Michio to check the loot from the bandits. But the bandanas over there weren't as valuable as those of the bandit bosses. After the fight, he feels tired, and when Michio wanted to log out of the game, he realized that the sensation he was experiencing was real. Until finally he remembers that he can no longer return to the real world and will forever be trapped in this game world. The village chief brought the thief who had exchanged the bandit's bandana to Michio and asked Michio to give him punishment. The punishment in the village is to make the thief into a slave, while the profits from the sale, half for the victim, who in this case is Michio, and the rest for the thief's family because they have lost their worker. The village chief handed over the bandits' intelligence cards, which could be exchanged for gifts. Michio and the village chief finally went to Vale City to exchange their gifts. After arriving at the knight's office, Michio then received a gift of gold and silver coins. The village chief then took Michio to the house of Alan the slave trader. After both parties agreed on the price for the thief, Michio gave half of the sales proceeds to the village chief. Suddenly, Alan called Michio to talk in a room. Apparently Alan knew that Michio was an adventurer. Then Alan offers Michio to buy one of his slaves. Michio was initially not interested in buying slaves, but after Alan offered a female slave, he began to think dirty. Suddenly a female waitress with a big watermelon came to bring him a drink. Alan realized that Michio was attracted by the watermelon in her body. After hearing Alan's long explanation, Michio finally decided to buy the slave named Roxanne. But because the asking price was too high, Michio couldn't afford it. When Michio wants to leave, he is reunited with Roxanne and is very tempted by her. Then Alan gives a deadline of 5 days to be able to redeem Roxanne. Since Michio had not enough gold coins, he thought of a way to get money instantly. He also remembered Alan's words that there was a labyrinth in the city, and if he could defeat the monsters in the labyrinth, he could sell the monsters' belongings. Then Michio decided to go to the labyrinth, but before that, he went shopping looking for equipment to fight the monsters. A moment later, he went into the forest and headed to where the labyrinth was. After entering the labyrinth, Michio gains several new abilities. He then confronts several needle woods and picks up pieces of their bodies. After getting enough of the items he needed, he went to the exchange and only got a fairly cheap price. The next morning, Michio went to the labyrinth using his new skill and rushed to find monsters to defeat them. But by accident, Michio found a secret room containing a nest of monsters. Although he was quite troubled by monsters, but thanks to his Durandal sword ability he managed to survive. On the way home, Michio saw a crowd of people who were looking at the corpse of a bandit. From the information of one who was there, Michio realized something. He realized that the bandits had a bounty, therefore he aimed to hunt down the bandits. Michio begins to prepare a plan to defeat the bandits in order to get a lot of money. While Michio was looking for bandits in a market, he heard information that the bandits had been driven out to another place. Then Michio goes to the slums, hoping he finds one of the bandits there. But he did not find it and returned to the inn. At night, Michio tried to investigate the bandits. On his way to find bandits, Michio ends up in a red light district, and there he finally finds a bandit. Then he followed the bandits until he arrived at their headquarters. After 1 day and 1 night of observation, Michio finally managed to deduce the situation of the bandits and prepared to attack them. Michio then went to the bandits' headquarters pretending to be looking for information. He managed to trick the guard and lure him to talk in a room. But it was all just part of Michio's plan. He purposely trapped the guard so he could easily finish him off. Then Michio went to another room and finished off the sleeping bandits. Since the other bandits were aware of Michio's actions, he decided to escape to the labyrinth using his skills. Finally, Michio managed to get 3 pieces of intelligence cards belonging to the bandits. Michio was starting to get confused, thinking of a way to exchange intelligence cards to the knights without them suspecting it, because he had just a few days ago performed a similar action. But luckily, the knight didn't ask anything that made Michio feel relieved. He also got a reward in the form of gold and silver coins. The money he has now is enough, then he takes it to Alan's house to redeem Roxanne. After waiting for a long time, Alan finally brought Roxanne before Michio. Alan then made a contract for both of them as slave and master. From that day on, Michio looked very happy that he had officially become Roxanne's employer. Then Michio took Roxanne to an inn. Roxanne looked nervous being in the same room with Michio, especially after Michio asked to touch her ear. Michio was happy because the receptionist gave him a double bed instead of a twin bed. Michio tells Roxanne about his plan to explore the labyrinth. Then he gave the shoes to Roxanne, although the size was too big, but Roxanne could handle it. After that, the two of them went to the market to shop for supplies before they explored the labyrinth. After finishing selecting shields and armor, the two of them continued shopping for clothes. Michio asked Roxanne not to be shy about her wishes, and it happened that Roxanne needed a new underwear because all this time she had only worn the same underwear. After being satisfied with shopping, Michio and Roxanne returned to the inn, and immediately Michio invited Roxanne to sleep in the same bed with him. But Roxanne didn't mind sleeping on the floor like a typical slave would. But after Michio pressed her, Roxanne finally agreed to sleep in the same bed with him. Before that, Roxanne checked the equipment they had to survive against the monsters in the labyrinth. A moment later, Roxanne intends to change her underwear. Michio tries to steal the opportunity to see Roxanne's pleasure hole, but he can't do it. That night, Michio asked Roxanne to wash her back. In return, Michio intended to wash Roxanne's back. On that occasion, Michio was not satisfied just by looking at Roxanne's watermelon, but he also wanted to touch it. After that, we know what happens next. Then Michio got curious and asked Roxanne to move her tail, and the next scene was Michio asked Roxanne to wash his head, then he also asked her to take off her underwear. And after that, Michio asked Roxanne to come over to the bed. For the next scene, there is no need to question it anymore, because Michio is only giving a special lecture to Roxanne about how to breathe. The next morning, the two of them prepared to go explore the labyrinth. That's the recap of the anime entitled Slave Harem in the Labyrinth of the Otherworld episodes 1 to 4. Is this anime enough to make your Johnny scream? This anime is still ongoing, and once again I remind you, if you are not old enough you should not watch this anime. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to step on the like button and subscribe if you like it. See you in the next video.